Success is predictable, so is failure. Both of them are results of laws you either know or you don't. And the first law we must understand is the law of leadership. Leadership determines everything. Every human being was born to be a leader, but most will die as followers. Why? Because they've never been taught how to lead. Let me start with a picture, a vivid image that will stick with you. Picture a flock of sheep. Sheep are, quite frankly, the dumbest animals on earth. Why? Because they have no leader. If you watch them in the wild, you'll never see a leading sheep. They just follow what's in front of them. They follow blindly. They fall off cliffs. They fall into rivers. They stumble over mountains. Sheep are the only animals God created that need a shepherd. Every other animal, lions, eagles, elephants, even ants, they can manage themselves. Sheep cannot. So if someone calls you a sheep, don't take it as a compliment. God even says in the scriptures that humans are like sheep gone astray. That is not a flattering comparison. It is a warning. God doesn't want you to wander aimlessly. He came as the shepherd to guide you back, to restore direction and purpose in your life, because sheep without leadership remain lost. Here's a statement to think about. An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. Say it again. An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. Now you might be asking, what does this mean? It means that leadership determines the quality of the followers. Leadership shapes the mentality of the followers. Leadership shapes the morality, the attitude, the commitment, and ultimately the destiny of the followers. You can only be as good as your leader. If your leader stops growing, you will stop growing. If your leader stops expanding, the organization will stop expanding. You cannot live beyond your leader. Jesus said it clearly, if the blind lead the blind, both will fall into the ditch. Think about that. You can hold a title, a position, power, or authority and still be blind. Just because someone is in a high position doesn't mean they know where they are going. Some of the world's most powerful leaders are blind in terms of vision, and yet their decisions determine the destiny of millions. Jesus' words are a warning. Wherever your leader goes, that's where you will go, whether it's toward life or toward the ditch. So it's important to be discerning about leadership. Don't ask a leader if they have power, authority, or money. Ask them, do you have a vision? Where are you going? Why should I follow you? What is the destination? Too often, people follow leaders emotionally. They get excited about miracles, charismatic speeches, or impressive displays, but the leader has no destination. That is how followers are led into an emotional ditch. Leadership is the most important activity on earth because it determines the destiny of the followers. Leaders give confidence to those who are frightened. They provide certainty where people are hesitant. They create action where people are indecisive. Leadership gives strength where there is weakness, courage where there is fear, and optimism where there is cynicism. Look at the story of Moses at the Red Sea. The people were terrified. They didn't know what to do. And then a leader emerged, Moses. He stood on a rock and pronounced courage and direction. He told the people, you will not stand still. The Egyptians will come after you, but God will fight for you. He provided certainty, strength, and faith. Leaders often pronounce things they cannot do themselves, relying on God for the outcome. That is the essence of faith in leadership, to speak the future into existence, to set the direction even when the path is unclear. Leaders give more than direction. They provide belief. They instill hope in hopeless situations. They shape reality for those who follow them. Leadership is not just about managing the present, it's about designing the future. And this is where you begin to understand why leadership is powerful. It transforms ordinary followers into extraordinary achievers simply through vision, faith, and direction. Now, let's talk about vision in leadership. Vision is what separates a true leader from a follower. A leader sees what others cannot see. A leader acts where others hesitate. A leader steps forward while others remain frozen. Moses is a perfect example. The Red Sea stretched out before him, a wall of water on one side and the pursuing Egyptian army on the other. Most people would have panicked. Most would have given up. But Moses, guided by God, pronounced direction, courage, and certainty. He had a vision. And because of that vision, he led an entire nation to safety. Leadership is about creating belief. Leaders provide conviction where there is doubt. They give faith where there is fear. They give strength to the weak, courage to the hesitant, and hope to the discouraged. True leaders do not wait for conditions to be perfect. They act on faith, trusting in a higher power, trusting in the outcome before it manifests. This is why leadership is more about mindset than resources. It is more about attitude than ability. Consider this principle. Leaders design the future. A leader does not merely react to events. A leader anticipates, plans, and shapes outcomes. Leaders create systems and strategies that guide others towards success. Without leadership, followers drift aimlessly, lost in uncertainty and fear. With leadership, even the most difficult challenges become manageable. Look at the animals in the kingdom. God identifies himself with two creatures, the lion and the eagle. Why? Because they embody leadership qualities. The lion is the king of the animal kingdom. The eagle is the ruler of the skies. Both dominate their domains, not because they are the strongest, tallest, or most intelligent, but because they have attitude, vision, and belief. They believe in themselves, and that belief gives them the confidence to lead. The lion faces creatures much larger than itself: elephants, buffaloes, even rhinoceroses. By all standards, it should be afraid. But the lion does not see limitations, it sees opportunity. The lion reduces obstacles to manageable tasks. It sees an elephant not as a threat, but as lunch. This is the mindset of a leader. A leader views challenges not as barriers, but as possibilities waiting to be conquered. Your life is no different. The problems you face, whether personal, professional, or societal, are not obstacles, they are opportunities. Your vision, your belief, and your attitude determine how you navigate these challenges. Leaders do not complain. Leaders do not wait. Leaders act. They take responsibility for the outcome and lead others by example. Faith is the engine of leadership. Faith means believing in something that cannot yet be seen. Faith means acting before results are visible. Faith allows a leader to make decisions, take risks, and inspire followers. When you act with faith, others see it, feel it, and follow. Without faith, leadership is empty. Without vision, leadership is aimless. Without belief, leadership is powerless. This is why leadership is essential for success. Success is predictable when guided by vision, faith, and strategy. Failure is predictable when leadership is absent. Most people fail because they follow the wrong leaders who are blind, unprepared, or misinformed. The leader's mindset, attitude, and belief system directly influence the outcome of those they lead. Remember this: your leadership today determines your future tomorrow. The world needs leaders who are courageous, visionary, and committed. Leaders who can rise above fear, see possibilities where others see problems, and inspire others to follow. Leadership is not a title, it is influence. It is impact, it is the ability to shape the future. Now let's look at the practical impact of leadership. Leadership is not just theory, it is action. Leaders create results because they make decisions, inspire action, and take responsibility for outcomes. Moses, for example, did not merely speak words. He faced Pharaoh, confronted armies, and guided people through the desert. He demonstrated the principle that leadership requires both vision and action. A true leader is not defined by position or title, but by influence. Influence is the power to move people to act. Leadership is about producing results through others. Without followers, a leader is simply an individual with ideas. The strength of a leader is measured by the number of lives positively impacted, the problems solved, and the obstacles overcome. Think about the army of sheep led by a lion versus an army of lions led by a sheep. Leadership determines destiny. Even the strongest, most powerful group will fail under weak leadership, while an average group will succeed under strong leadership. Leadership shapes the mentality, morality, courage, and commitment of followers. This is why leadership education is critical. People fail not because they are incapable, but because they follow blind leaders. Every leader faces resistance, opposition, and doubt, from both within and without. The challenge of leadership is not in having followers, it is in navigating uncertainty while guiding others. Leaders must communicate vision clearly, create conviction, and inspire confidence. They must act decisively, even when the path is unclear. This is what differentiates leaders from followers. Leadership also requires strategic thinking. Leaders design the future. They anticipate challenges, allocate resources, and mobilize people toward goals. Leaders turn obstacles into opportunities and problems into solutions. They reduce fear by creating clarity. They reduce uncertainty by providing direction. Leadership is proactive, not reactive. It is about shaping outcomes, not simply responding to events. Consider the lion again. The lion is not the tallest, the strongest, or the most intelligent, yet it leads because of attitude. Its attitude is born from belief, a belief that it can succeed despite obstacles. This principle applies to human leaders. Your belief system shapes your attitude shapes your confidence, and your confidence determines your capacity to lead. Confidence is contagious. When a leader demonstrates confidence, followers feel it. When a leader is hesitant, followers hesitate. When a leader is committed, followers commit. Leadership is about setting the tone, creating culture, and inspiring action. Without belief, attitude, and confidence, leadership is ineffective. A leader must also create hope. Hope is the bridge between vision and reality. A leader gives people a reason to believe that change is possible. Hope inspires action, sustains motivation, and strengthens resolve. In times of fear, doubt, or difficulty, leadership is the difference between despair and progress. Leaders transform fear into faith, weakness into strength, and obstacles into opportunities. Remember, success is predictable when leadership is present. Failure is predictable when leadership is absent. Leadership is not just about guiding others, it is about creating a path for success and ensuring that everyone along the journey can follow. The principles of leadership are universal: vision, attitude, belief, confidence, action, and hope. Master these and you master influence. Now let's shift our focus to the world around us. Leadership is not just about personal success, it is about understanding the environment, the challenges, and the context in which you operate. The world is complex, interconnected, and full of obstacles that can overwhelm the unprepared. But a true leader sees opportunity where others see chaos. Look at the global challenges facing humanity today. Wars rage in multiple regions, economies are unstable, governments face corruption, and societies struggle with inequality and injustice. Refugees cross borders seeking safety, millions live without basic necessities, and nations struggle to provide education, healthcare, and opportunity for all. Yet in the midst of these challenges, leaders rise, not by being passive observers, but by taking deliberate action. Globalization is another challenge every leader must understand. It means that events in one part of the world directly affect every other part. A political crisis in one nation can disrupt trade worldwide. A technological innovation in one country can change industries everywhere. Leaders must think globally while acting locally. They must anticipate trends, understand cultural differences, and adapt strategies accordingly. True leaders do not wait for perfect conditions. They do not wait for the world to be safe, for resources to be abundant, or for support to be guaranteed. They act with faith, conviction, and strategic vision. They mobilize people, create solutions, and inspire hope. Leadership is not about controlling everything. It is about influencing what matters most and guiding people toward a shared vision. History shows us countless examples of leaders who transformed their nations, communities, and organizations by refusing to accept the status quo. Leaders design the future. They refuse to complain about the world. They engage with it. They refuse to blame circumstances. They take responsibility. They refuse to follow blindly. They lead boldly. Think about Moses once again. When faced with Pharaoh, the most powerful leader of the most powerful civilization of his time, he did not cower, he did not hesitate. He acted with conviction because he believed in God's plan. That belief shaped his attitude, which gave him confidence, which allowed him to lead a nation to freedom. Every obstacle became manageable because his focus was not on the size of the challenge, but on the certainty of the outcome. Leadership also requires courage. Courage is the ability to act despite fear. Every leader faces uncertainty and opposition. Without courage, vision is meaningless. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of fear. Leaders must stand firm when others flee, make decisions when others delay, and take responsibility when others blame. Courage fuels persistence, and persistence produces results. The world will not wait for followers. It will not adjust for the timid. Leaders must rise, think critically, and act decisively. They must reduce fear, increase confidence, and guide others through uncertainty. This is why leadership training, mindset, and preparation are non-negotiable. A world without leaders is chaotic. A world with strong, strategic leaders is transformative. Remember, leadership is not optional. Every human being is born to lead, whether a family, a team, a community, or a nation. Yet most people die as followers because they have never been taught how to think, act, and influence effectively. Leaders see the unseen, believe the impossible, and act decisively to shape reality. Now let's talk about the lion, the ultimate symbol of leadership in nature. God identifies himself with the lion because the lion embodies the qualities of a true leader: courage, authority, and vision. The lion is not the tallest animal in the jungle, nor the strongest, nor the most intelligent. Yet the lion is the undisputed leader. Why is that? It's attitude. Attitude determines leadership more than size, strength, or intellect. Every action the lion takes reflects a belief system that says, I am in charge. I can handle this. Nothing is too big for me. The lion does not focus on the size of the challenge. The elephant beside him may be bigger, heavier, stronger, but he reduces it to a meal in his mind. That is the mindset of a leader. Attitude comes from belief. Whatever you believe shapes your attitude, and your attitude shapes your actions. If you believe you are powerless, timid, or insignificant, your attitude will reflect weakness, fear, and hesitation. But if you believe in your ability to overcome, to lead, to influence, your attitude will project confidence, authority, and determination. Confidence is the result of belief. Leaders act confidently because they believe in themselves and their vision. Moses believed in God's promise, and that belief allowed him to confront Pharaoh, lead millions out of Egypt, and overcome impossible odds. Confidence is not arrogance. It is the natural outcome of knowing your purpose and trusting in the power that supports you. Leaders see opportunities where others see problems. They see solutions where others see obstacles. While others focus on limitations, leaders focus on possibilities. The lion does not measure the elephant's strength. He sees a challenge, reduces it in his mind, and takes action. Leaders think the same way. Every problem becomes manageable because they reduce fear and uncertainty to a simple course of action. Leadership is also about influence. The lion doesn't have to force respect. His presence commands it. Leadership is not about titles, positions, or external validation. It's about how your belief and attitude inspire others to follow. When a leader projects certainty, courage, and vision, people naturally align behind that energy. Every person is born with the capacity to lead, but it requires the right mindset. Leadership is learned, developed, and refined. You must cultivate belief, attitude, and confidence. You must train your mind to see challenges as opportunities, obstacles as stepping stones, and fear as fuel for courage. Remember, strength alone does not make a leader. Intelligence alone does not make a leader. Power alone does not make a leader. But the right attitude, the unwavering belief in your purpose and ability creates influence, authority, and leadership. The lion teaches us that leadership is about mastering your mind, believing in your mission, and projecting certainty that others can follow. This is why attitude is critical. Leaders do not react passively to circumstances. They act decisively, reduce fear, and inspire confidence in those around them. They focus on solutions, not problems. They project belief, not doubt. And most importantly, they create the future instead of waiting for it to arrive. Now let's expand on the elephant beside the lion. The elephant represents challenges, obstacles, and the weight of the world around you. It is massive, strong, and seemingly impossible to overcome. In life, these are the global challenges, personal struggles, and societal pressures that appear bigger than you. Yet the lion, the leader, does not focus on size, strength, or power. The lion sees opportunity, not intimidation. What the lion teaches us is simple. Leadership reduces fear. The lion looks at the elephant and says in his mind, "This is lunch." One word transforms a massive threat into a manageable opportunity. Leaders do the same with problems. They reframe obstacles, break them into actionable steps, and act with confidence. Leadership is about perspective. The bigger the problem, the more essential it is to maintain belief and attitude. Your attitude determines how you approach challenges. If you view obstacles as insurmountable, your followers will see only fear and hesitation. But if you approach challenges with confidence, decisiveness, and faith, your team will mirror your attitude. Leadership is contagious. Confidence spreads, fear spreads, but faith and courage spread even faster. Belief is the foundation of attitude. If you believe you can overcome, you will project strength. If you believe in your mission, you will inspire others to follow. Leaders do not wait for perfect conditions. They act based on belief, vision, and purpose. Moses believed he could lead the Israelites out of Egypt. He believed God would guide him, and that belief became confidence. That confidence produced action. Leadership always moves forward, even when the outcome is unknown. Now think about your own life. What elephants are standing in front of you? What obstacles seem too big to conquer? Leaders reduce them in their minds. They say, "I can handle this, I will overcome this." This challenge is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to lead. Leaders never shrink from problems. They shrink problems with their mindset and expand possibilities with their vision. The lion does not hesitate. The lion does not wait for permission. The lion acts with authority because he believes in his mission. Leadership is about taking initiative. It is about making decisions that others are too afraid to make. It is about stepping forward when others step back. This is why leadership is predictable. Success follows those who act decisively, who believe unwaveringly, and who maintain a strong attitude in the face of obstacles. Failure follows those who hesitate, doubt themselves, and focus only on the size of the challenge. Leadership is a mindset. It is not dependent on power, resources, or intelligence. It is dependent on belief, attitude, and the courage to act. Every leader faces their elephant. Some run in fear, some freeze, The lion does neither. The lion sees opportunity. The lion moves, and that is why the lion leads, and that is why followers succeed. Now, let's bring this into the real world. The world around you is full of elephants, massive challenges that seem impossible to overcome. Wars, economic crises, unemployment, societal unrest, and personal struggles. They all appear bigger than any single person, but leaders see differently. Leaders reduce these massive challenges to manageable tasks. They do not allow fear to dominate their thinking. They act with vision, faith, and purpose. Leadership is not about complaining about the problems. It is about compliance with strategy and action. Leaders do not wait for perfect conditions. They create the conditions to succeed. They inspire commitment and motivate action. They design the future. A true leader looks at chaos, conflict, and complexity and says, I can fix this. I can make a difference. I can lead people to victory. Look at Moses in the Bible. The Israelites were terrified, trapped between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea. Everyone hesitated, but Moses acted. He spoke with confidence, he inspired courage, and he demonstrated faith. The people followed him because of his vision and his unwavering belief. Leadership is about creating conviction in others, even when the outcome is uncertain. Every great achievement begins with belief. If you believe you can achieve something, you will inspire others to act. If you believe in the future you are creating, you will motivate your team to commit themselves fully. Leaders create faith where doubt exists, hope where despair exists, and strength where weakness exists. Leaders design the future. They see possibilities where others see problems. The global challenges around us, globalization, political instability, social unrest, are all like the elephant beside the lion. Massive, overwhelming, intimidating. Yet the lion leader does not focus on the size. The lion focuses on opportunity. The lion focuses on action. Leaders must adopt the same mindset. Reduce fear, increase faith, and move decisively. Leadership is contagious. Your attitude influences everyone around you. If you hesitate, your followers hesitate. If you doubt, your followers doubt. If you act with confidence and belief, your followers mirror that. The impact of leadership is exponential. One confident leader can influence thousands, change communities, and even transform nations. And here is the key truth. You were born to be a leader, not to follow passively, not to be limited by fear, by the size of the challenge, or by the opinion of others. You were born to create, to act, to inspire, and to lead. Every great achievement in history has followed this principle. Leadership precedes success. So look at the challenges in your life. Look at the elephant standing in front of you. Reduce them in your mind. Say, I can overcome this. I will lead through this. This is manageable. This is my opportunity. The lion does not see the elephant as a threat. He sees it as lunch. You must do the same. Leadership is about perspective. Leadership is about attitude. Leadership is about belief. And now with this mindset, you can transform the impossible into the achievable. You can inspire people, create a vision, and design a future that others thought impossible. Leadership is predictable. Success is predictable. Belief and attitude create confidence. Confidence creates action. Action creates result. Now let's take it one step further. Leadership is not only about facing challenges, it is about creating transformation. You have influence, you have power, you have ideas, you have the capacity to change your environment, your community, and even your nation. The lion does not wait for others to act, he acts, and in leadership, action is everything. Think about Jesus Christ, the Lion of Judah. He faced the greatest challenges of the world: sin, darkness, sickness, and oppression. And yet with vision, faith, and courage, he acted. He changed history. He inspired followers. He created a movement that has lasted over 2,000 years. Leadership is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about taking decisive action now. Every leader you admire started where you are now. They faced obstacles, doubters, and massive elephants in their path. But they did not focus on fear. They focused on faith. They believed, acted, and inspired. And that is exactly what you must do. Your leadership is your responsibility. No one else can live your destiny for you. You must step up. You must speak out. You must take action, even when it is uncomfortable, even when others do not understand, and even when failure seems possible. Leaders embrace risk because they understand that progress requires movement. Remember this: the world follows leaders who have clarity, courage, and conviction. The world follows those who reduce the impossible to the achievable. The world follows those who inspire faith, hope, and action in others. You were born to lead. You were born to influence. You were born to create results that others thought impossible. So look at your life, your career, your community, and your nation. See the elephants standing in your way. Reduce them to manageable steps. Approach them with faith, confidence, and action. and most importantly, inspire others to follow you. Because leadership is not just personal, it is collective. The world changes when leaders act. Today, make a choice. Decide to see yourself as a leader. Decide to lead where you are. Decide to influence, inspire, and impact. Decide to act with faith, courage, and vision. The world is waiting. Your time is now. Your future is in your hands. Leadership is predictable. Success is predictable. Act with belief. Act with attitude. Act with courage. Reduce your elephants to lunch. Lead, inspire, transform, and remember, the future belongs to those who step up and take it. You are a leader. Your time is now. Lead boldly, act decisively, and change the world.